Now, Powerbook 4 Force Episode 2 gave us a return of a familiar Scar from Ghost and Tommy's past, but more so Ghost, because he was the one responsible for keeping Lilliana alive when Tommy wanted to ice the chick. So in this video, we're gonna dive deep into who Lilliana is, what her story is with Tommy, and how Ghost's past moves is actually gonna prove useful for Tommy over the course of the season, and maybe seasons to come in Chicago. But we're also gonna have a look at the history of the Jimenez Cartel, and who could be the new leader of their organization, if this is indeed the Jimenez Cartel making a return to the world of power, because this spider card has a very strong resemblance to the signature spider card that was left on the Jimenez kills in Power. But we're also going to touch on some mixed reviews and generally the thoughts of everybody over the first 2 episodes of the show, because it really has been mixed. So let's start with these mixed reviews from the comment section. And what I would say is, Tommy's character in Powerbook 4 Force is definitely playing the long game, and in my honest opinion, there was a lot of jumping from one storyline to another storyline in Powerbook 2 Ghost Season 2, with a bit too much going on at times, which isn't the case with Force, and you can really tell. They are definitely playing the long game with not diving too deep into every single character. The build-up is at the right pace, which is similar to the OG show, but with them giving us a deeper backstory, which is different to Power. For example, they're giving us a little drops of information about Tommy's background and setting the foundation for him to even learn more about who he is, because all this time in Power, he thought he knew himself, who his mom Kate was, his brother Ghost, but all of a sudden, he's realizing that he's got a whole nother family and a life which he never knew existed. So we're in essence starting from the bottom with Tommy, not just from him building his organization, but we're also watching him reconnecting with family, watching old videos of him and Kate back in 1985, and learning more about his brother that he never knew he had. And what is definitely ironic is, he doesn't know that he's already seen his nephew, who's JP's son, because this was him who had his gun to Tommy's face in Diamond's barbershop. JP lost his son when he came out, so his mom took him, but we don't know who his mom is either, whether she's alive or dead. But it seems that D-Mac was lost to the streets very early on, because he is only 16. Now JP may not know who D-Mac is, but he certainly knows who JP is, and him attacking his father's bar tells us everything we need to know about what he thinks of him. So this is a relationship we'll dive deeper on in the week, but this was such a sad scene between JP and Tommy.
I never had a brother. I did.
And JP doesn't know how things work because he's never had a brother, but Tommy did. And he's someone who's definitely got a big heart for family, as he showed in this episode. And I'm sure if Tariq needs Uncle Tommy's help at some point, he will definitely be there for him as well. But we can't say the same about Tasha. But coming away from Tommy, they're introducing us to all of these new characters like Jannard, Diamond, Vic, Gloria, and Walter Flynn, but not all of them are going to have an explosive start like Tommy has. For example, let's take the Tejadas in Powerbook 2 Ghost Season 1. It was a very gradual, slow process until we saw Drew, Diana, and become their own people and make their own decisions. Then we saw them moving in Season 2 and Kane moving and learning under Mecca. So what Force is doing with all of these characters in Season 1 is definitely building the foundation for a long series in my opinion. We've not seen what Jannard is really capable of, and he strikes me of someone who's crazy. These facial expressions that he gives from time to time definitely strikes me of someone who's got some real anger built up inside him that he can release if and when he wants to use it. And he's also got a background in mixed martial arts. So there's also Gloria, who's an ex-Marine. She's someone who can definitely handle herself, as we've seen with Simon, and her dealing with the Flynns rejecting Tommy's help. And we also need to learn more about the Flynns. So in my opinion, very much like the OG Power series, this is setting the foundation for a very long series with Powerbook 4 Force, with us getting to know the characters, but them giving us a deeper backstory and understanding who Tommy is. And I agree with this. I love the pace of the show. They're introducing the cast, enemies, very smart, and it's going to make for an easier watch as the season moves forward. It reminds me of the old Power, when we all saw the gang leaders on OG Power. This one where we've seen 4 new leaders in Chicago, plus the 3 we know, the Flynns, the CBI, and the Jimenez. But let's not forget about the Serbs and Rodolfo. So with that being said, this moves me on nicely to talking about the Serbs and the Jimenez Cartel. Now in the season trailer, we also saw someone asking a female, "Where's Tommy Egan?" who I definitely think could very well be Lilliana. And not many people know who Tommy Egan is by name, so I do think it's either the Jimenez Cartel or the Serbs trying to find Tommy, because let's not forget, the Serbs are based in Chicago, and I do think they will come into play at some point in the series. It would only make sense. But let's focus on the Jimenez Cartel, because of this of course. And if the card at the end of the episode does signify the Jimenez Cartel, then who's in charge of the cartel now? because in OG Power, both Diego and Alicia Jimenez was sent to the upper room, and it's a very good question, who is in charge of the Jimenez Cartel? So let's just rewind it back to Power for a moment and touch on how Cristobal could very much be involved. Now in Power, we saw Dre and Cristobal approaching Alicia and Diego Jimenez to come together to create a new drug network, with Dre at the head of their organization instead of Tommy's, because he wanted to be the biggest goddamn drug dealer in New York, which the Jimenez went for. So then Cristobal and Dre burnt a whole warehouse full of Tommy's product to force Tommy's network to work for Dre. After a lot of issues with Diego Jimenez and Alicia being arrested and released, death involving Father Callahan, Lorenzo Salazar, and Diego Jimenez, and issues between Dre, Cristobal, and 2-Bit. At the end of all of this, we saw Cristobal being promoted by Alicia Jimenez, taking Dre's place, and Dre was the one who gave up their location to Angela Valdez at the Ridgebury Hotel, because that's what snitches do. Now, Diego Jimenez was killed by Kanan, and Alicia Jimenez was killed by Jason Michich, so naturally there would be a successor to both of them, but the second in command was also arrested. And since then, we've not seen or heard from Cristobal on Power Book 2 Ghost, but Corny Kemp did confirm that he's in jail. Now, because we've not seen him on Power Book 2 Ghost, could we see Cristobal returning with the Jimenez Cartel at some point on Force? Because of course, he was in second in command after all, but this is if this is the Jimenez Cartel, which it very well could be, because this was their signature card, and it's a very cool way of connecting OG Power to Power Book 4 Force. So the Jimenez could very well be introduced at some point in Force, just like the Serbs. But who is Lilliana, and what is Tommy's beef with her? Because this was such a common question in the comment section, and I agree, it's been a very long time since we've seen Lilliana on our screens, and we have to rewind it back to the very first episode of Power, where she was slashed by pink sneakers, and in typical Ghost style, he was someone who wanted to show his loyalty to Lilliana, for her showing her loyalty to them, because she could very well have snitched. Instead, what she did was she kept a cool head and she followed protocol when she contacted Julio. But of course, Tommy still wanted to ice the chick, because Tommy is someone who hates having loose ends around. For example, we saw him dealing with Maria Suarez, Proctor, Ruiz, Bailey Markham, and so many others. But it would have sent the wrong message to the rest of their couriers, who weren't exactly soldiers. They hired these couriers so they could blend in with the society, so they couldn't attract so much heat from law enforcement, and it worked. They definitely had a good system going until Mecha fucked it up for them, which we learned in Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2. But Lilliana revealed that she was given money to leave New York by Julio, and she found her way to Chicago, where she found Tommy because she heard some whispers that there was this guy with a blue Mustang in town, and she went for him because she thought he was coming after her. But in the end, after Tommy found this product underneath the floorboards, and as episode 3's trailer showed us, it does seem like they're going to be working together, and Tommy can certainly use someone like Lilliana, because she was loyal to Ghost and Tommy, as I just mentioned, and that's one of the main things Tommy values in his soldiers. But she's more than just loyal, just look at how she held it down, battling with someone like Tommy. Of course, Tommy was always going to get the better of her, but she showed she's not afraid to throw her hands and stand her ground, if that's what it takes to survive. So she certainly knows the streets, and she certainly knows Chicago and the Flynns, going by the episode 3 trailer. So Ghost Pass connection and ways of keeping Lilliana alive may just well benefit Tommy in Chicago. So sometimes bumping into old friends is definitely a good thing. And with that being said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on these two subjects, with Lilliana returning and how she could prove useful to Tommy and the Jimenez Cartel. And as usual, in the week, I'll be back analysing key character storylines and relationships. So of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 4 Force and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.